So I pulled into the front of the driveway at the concession road yesterday. Beautiful white blanket of snow down the driveway as far as you could see. And you know, it's really pretty because it's been a long time since I've seen it. Sun was out, shining across through the forest. Unlocked the gate, started heading down through the forest, and very quickly realized there was a really important thing I was supposed to do a few weeks ago, and I forgot to do it. It's not a big deal, won't take me too long, but it's gotta be done. Hope you'll hang out with me. Cheers. All right. Like I said, not a big job today. I've only got a couple to remove, but I got to get them out. If you're a first-time tractor owner, or this is the first winter with that brand new front mount blower, take a look at this. That is all bad. That rock is not only going to jar my tractor, but at some point it's going to end up in my auger. Trust me, 6 years of experience now. Every fall, you folks know that I go down this driveway with a backpack blower and I blow all the leaves out of the driveway. I get the same question every year though. A lot of folks will say, GP, why you spend all that time and effort? Don't the leaves all just go back in the driveway again with the wind? Well, they don't. I'm in a forest. Forest blocks a lot of the wind. There are parts of the driveway that will catch a wind, but every year I wait until right towards the end of November when I figure there's not many leaves left on any of these trees. That's when I blow the driveway, and that's why there's such an abundance of them when I do it. I do it for those two reasons which I've mentioned before. One of the most important reasons is because those leaves become pretty slick when we start getting cold rain or freezing rain, or we start to get snow. It's like a little ice rink, especially on the steep hill and the big hill. But the other reason why is so I can see what's pushing up through the middle of the driveway. Every year I remove a few rocks, every year new rocks appear. And you're not trying to remove everyone. You want to remove the ones that are pointy and sticking up far too high in the driveway. Every year your driveway is going to go through the thaw phase and it's going to freeze. Freeze in the beginning of the winter, then you'll have that spring thaw. Your ground continually contracts and expands. And over the years, it's going to take any rocks that are just below the surface and it's going to start pushing them up into the driveway. Your snowblower is not going to like them. If you leave these bad boys in the driveway, I'm going to tell you exactly what will happen. Not what might happen, but what will happen. You're going to get that first half foot or foot of snow, especially you new guys like I was. You're going to be chomping to fire up that snowblower and clear the driveway and see it perform. You'll be popping along in the tractor. You won't see it under the snow, but that cutting bar on the bottom of your snowblower is going to hit this rock and it's going to jar the tractor almost to a stop. If the snowblower's in float, what will most likely happen the first time, especially with a boulder this big, it's going to bump up and over to the top of the rock and continue going, which means you got to clear the rock out at that point, and it's probably a lot easier doing it today. If it doesn't come up and into your auger on that day, if you leave the rock there, I guarantee it'll end up in your auger on maybe next week or the week after. Sooner or later, you're going to keep hitting this rock. You're going to jar it or unsettle it from the ground, and it'll eventually end up in the front of your augers, for sure. That's why we got to move them out. But hey, you don't have to remove every rock you see. Take a look at this profile. You can see this thing is a good 4 to 5 inches up off of the top of the driveway. That's bad. And it's also got kind of a really blunt front to it, especially if I'm coming this way with the blower. But I'll show you a couple other rocks just to give you an idea. See this guy here? He's not too bad. Notice he's got kind of a rounded shape to him, and he's only sticking up a little bit out of the driveway. And especially given that you've got your skid shoes set up high, you should be able to float over it. You might feel it, you might get a little bump, but it'll naturally float or smooth over the top of that rock because of the profile of it. There's another example here. That's part of a rock shelf, you could tell, or one heck of a big boulder underneath the ground. But see how smooth and how rounded it is. It protrudes up out of the driveway, but then it kind of disappears into the other side. It's very flat to the ground, although it's sticking up a bit, but it has a smooth top to it. So your blower should just smooth right over this rock as you go. I know what some of you are thinking, so I'll answer the question now because I know I'm going to see it in the comments. GP, why aren't you just using your bucket to dig these rocks out? You're right, I could use the bucket, But remember, that bucket is linear all the way along the bottom. When I go to dig out these rocks, I'm going to take 60 inches of earth with me. The nice thing about these grapples, and this is a root rake style grapple, it's designed to be pushed through the ground. That's why the tines are designed this way. When I go in and I try to dig and I try to curl those rocks out, I am going to dig ground, but I'm not going to disturb it too much because it's not going to take the earth with it. You'll see the tines go through the driveway and dig up a little bit of dirt, but it leaves the dirt there. It doesn't take it with you. So it's a much, I think, less intrusive way of getting the rocks out of the driveway. Plus, there's a reason why I always keep some gravel around on hand. Yeah, well, I was afraid of that. That's why I should have done this when I normally do, back at the end of October, beginning of November. Ground's already starting to freeze and I cannot get the tines in underneath this boulder. So for me, there's two options left. One is I could put a marker of some sort right here in the driveway so I'll remember as I come through to lift the blower out of float and lift it up a few inches as I pass through. Or I could drop some gravel over top of this, which is quite often what I do on different rocks across the driveway. But again, I do it before the snow starts to fly and before the ground starts to freeze. We'll drop some gravel. Just in case you were wondering, those tines are in fine shape, no bends, no twists. That's hard axe 450 steel. I'm not really doing it properly today. Usually when you've got a target like this, you're going to want to spread gravel for 3 or 4 feet on either side of it so that you get a nice smooth change in the ground. For now though, I don't have a lot of time, so I'm just going to drop this down here, get it patted down a bit. It's awfully late in the season to be doing this, dropping gravel, but I much prefer to give this a whirl than to have to try to mark it and remember to lift the blower every time I come by. So that'll do it. Not my best work, but it should do the job. We're still in that beginning of winter type time frame, so we're still gonna have some warmer days and some rain. Some that will turn to freezing rain, some will just be rain. That'll help to pack this down a bit. And I think, as I mentioned, once I get 3 or 4 inches of good hard packed snow down or a base on the driveway, I should be able to glide over this pretty good. Thanks so much for sticking around today, I appreciate it. I've just got one more to do a little further down the driveway, but I'll let you go now. If you like the channel, please click subscribe, hit the like button, and tell all your friends. Have a wonderful week with your families. Please be kind to one another, and I'll see you again right here. I'm Gord Potter, and you've been watching GP Outdoors. Cheers.